I'm sorry, kiddo, I really am. You have a good soul. And I hate giving good people bad news.
He's Tony, I'm Mike, and this is week 3 of our Halloween Spooktacular 2024. Today we're doing 1991's Body Parts.
There's nothing to worry about. Everything's going to be just fine. You lost your arm in a car accident yesterday. We've transplanted another arm for you.
I think there's something the matter with me. There's something wrong with the person I used to belong to. I want you to run my prints. Any past record I had would show up on the printout, right? You put a killer's arm onto my body and you didn't tell me.
That arm can't do anything you don't want it to.
Where does evil live? Does it live in the soul? In the mind? Maybe it lives in the flesh.
Body Parts.
And I was going to say, the strength of this film is that it doesn't just follow one character, it follows 3 characters, technically 4 characters, and how do you divvy up Thanksgiving dinner? You want to tell us about the plot?
So, before we get to the plot, let's talk about the cast. We got Jeff Fahey as Bill Cruikshank,
I'd just like to cure one human being, that's all, just one.
Kim Delaney as Karen Cruikshank, the wife,
Oh, honey, come on. You're not a fraud. You're the best man I know.
Lindsay Duncan as Dr. Agatha Webb,
We have a donor who suits your husband. You can give him a normal human arm, as fully functional as the one he's lost.
Brad Dourif as Romeo Lacey,
My arm?
Yeah, I got the other one.
Yeah. So, like, you want to arm wrestle or what?
Peter Merck as Mark Draper,
Crushed both my legs, put me in a fucking wheelchair. Lose your legs sometime, I'm telling you. All your other problems shrink to nothing in comparison.
Zakes Mokae,
Sure.
yeah, as Detective Sawchuck.
There's this lady doctor wants to experiment on grafting techniques on convicts. She's up to her neck in politics. She pulls the right strings and cha-cha-cha. You've got his arm.
Oh, you'll remember him from The Serpent and the Rainbow. He was the other Haitian voodoo guy that...
Oh, is that where he's from?
That's exactly where he was
Okay,
from.
I
I
thought
want to
that-
hear you scream, Bill Pullman.
You want money?
What do you want?
I want to hear you scream.
The setup for the plot, Bill Cruikshank is a psychologist working with the convicts and stuff like that. He's also a professor.
Yep.
Well, one day driving into work, he sees a damn K car, a Dodge Aries, with a gimpy wheel. The wheel comes off. Magnificent, one of the best crashes I've ever seen put on film. Poor Bill gets ejected from the car.
Yes.
Uh,
Wear
he
your
get-
seatbelt, kids. So
Yes. He gets taken to the hospital. Dr. Agatha Webb is this soon-to-be famous surgeon, and she wants to do a experimental procedure where they're going to reattach an arm because Bill lost his.
Yeah.
And convinces the wife to sign off on that shit.
We have a donor who suits your husband. You can give him a normal human arm. We need to perform the operation immediately. To maximize the chance of success, I need your signature right away.
Well, he gets the arm attached. Everything seems to be fine until he finally goes back to work to visit one of the convicts in prison. and they shake hands, and the convict notices he has the same death row tattoo as he does.
They only give those out on death row, pal. You gotta be stone killer to wear that shit. What kind of shrink are you, man?
Yes,
And
yes.
is
The only place you can get it is Death Row. It's an exclusive.
Yes. And he is terrified and freaks the fuck out, and from there, shenanigans ensue.
Okay, this is a hugely uneven movie. It's a movie that is both smarter and dumber than it should be.
Okay.
Simultaneously.
All right.
And this is, I will say this, when this movie decides it's going off the rails, it steers for the
Oh, dude, it swings for the fences and then some.
Because I had already watched two people lose hands, and I was just kind of like, kind of bored with the whole thing. It's like, oh, he lost an arm. All right, so we're up in the ante a little bit. Then you have the whole bit where like his arm starts doing shit on its own, which if you watched Idle Hands before this, is hilarious. And then he starts having the visions, and Dourif, who is this painter who did all these crappy landscapes, but now he's doing all these moody pieces, and all of a sudden his art is selling like hotcakes. And I'm thinking, that sounds about right.
I was a hack, I can say that now. Dumb Cape Cod landscapes. I get this arm, and hey, I make $250,000 in the first 3 weeks.
And then you have the guy that he didn't get one leg, he got both legs. But he's like this sweet ass basketball player. Now, once you get past all the surgeries and the recovery and people getting used to it, and like the very convincing makeup effects.
Yes, the makeup effects in this are amazing. Every time they show an attached limb, it looks properly grotesque.
Yes. And then we start getting into the, well, where does evil live? Because my hand is doing things that it's never done before.
I like that part. I like that when they kind of dig into the philosophy of evil a little bit. Is it in the mind? Can it be carried in the flesh?
I mean, where does evil, where does it live? Does it live in the, soul? In the mind? Maybe it lives in the heart. Maybe it lives in the flesh.
If you're going to ask the question, you should give a satisfactory answer, at least from your point of view, because what it turns out is that the doctor saved the head and grafted that onto somebody else, which that just seems like you're making work for yourself, really. There's a head that went away somewhere in here. But then he apparently decides that he needs to get all of his original equipment back. He's doing a full frame-off rebuild.
When he steals those limbs back, it is fucking ruthless. The first guy's off screen, which kind of sucks. Guys will like to see Mark's legs get ripped off of him.
Yeah. They show Brad Dourif get his arm lost, and he gets dropped down through the car.
That was sweet. My favorite part, though, is when he's trying to get Bill's arm back, and he just casually cruises up in the car and like slaps the handcuffs on him. And they had that high-speed chase. That is edge of your seat tension. That is good shit.
It's simultaneously edge of your seat, but it's also like, dude, just make a hard right. You'll get the arm. The scar tissues, the stitches ain't gonna hold, man. You'll get the whole thing, and then you can just go on about your merry way. And I'm also gonna say that the frequency of trucks driving on that road is very high, and apparently they all like to drive about the same speed when they're going. It looked more like a video game that you have to dodge shit than actual driving. And this movie's very uneven. It's got some parts in it that are played very straight, very seriously, and they're very well acted and well done. And you know, Jeff Fahey, whatever his name is, and Brad Dourif do the heavy lifting. Dana Delaney as the wife is great, and when Jeff Fahey slaps the shit out of his kid, I laugh so hard.
You're a heartless bastard. Man.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad he didn't slap you, B, when you were younger. He just laughed it up.
The kid, his dad just had an arm sewn back on, and the kid decides that he's going to pull some WrestleMania Hulk Hogan big boot shit off the couch.
For The Rock at WrestleMania 18.
He had 5 across the eyes coming. That's all I'm saying. That kid asked for it, so he delivered. Then Dana Delaney is all, "Don't you touch my babies!" And it was very Jerry Springer. And he's got to go stay at a hotel and then invite his 2 other limbless compadres that make up the whole match set to go have a drink. And then they get into the dumbest bar fight I've ever seen.
I love that bar fight. That bar fight is great. Oh, it is vicious. Jeff Fahey pounds the hell out of motherfuckers in that bar.
But it's not
glorious.
Jeff Fahey, his arm, the killer's arm.
It doesn't matter. It's a fucking beat down. It's a smackdown that only The Rock can deliver.
Hey, look at Rock trying to battle back. Here comes the great one. The Brahma Bull. And there goes Riley.
So we get to the end of the movie, and it turns out the doctor's not gonna like take the arm off because, you know, this is her crowning achievement, and you know, she's gonna reassemble the killer. Which, how does that work?
I don't understand. See, that was my big nitpick with this film.
Yeah.
It was like, why? Why did you go through all this trouble just to have the killer come back and grab the parts again? Like, what was the point of that one?
Science, like nature, destroys to build. I'm part of a process that's bigger than all of us. Now, we transplant heads.
It's okay. It's kind of homage to Frankenstein, because there's like the whole tank, and she's got like the torso and the legs and the arms that are all there. That she's collected all that together, and then the head with an neck brace on the lender body. Drive it like you stole it, man.
That guy's got one expression the whole entire time. Is
well, it's kind of hard to emote when you got your head stuck in a toilet seat. But anyway, so we go through all that, and then there's a shotgun that gets involved, and the head gets shot. And then, you know, I guess shooting the brain is what frees up all the arms and legs. So the question then becomes, the doctor lady got shot and killed. And the serial killer that was loaning out all of his limbs to everybody, he gets shot and killed.
Yep.
Was her plan to, like, put him back together and go, ta-da?
no,
It's not like
that's
she
the
could
thing, I
ever.
don't know.
Well, it's not like she could ever reveal that she reanimated this serial killer that was supposed to be put to death or anything.
Yeah, and again, that's my nitpick with this movie. I have no idea what the whole point of that was, other than it was like I said, the opposite of Frankenstein, where she actually loves her creature and wants to put them back together. I don't know. Well, I do know is that there is great tension in this movie. There's some great horror in this movie. It is creepy as hell. I love the score at the beginning.
Yeah.
That score where you got that kind of Psycho meets Friday the 13th score is great. Speaking of which, Frank Mancuso produced this one, who did all the Friday the 13th, or pretty much all of them. Eric the Red wrote and directed this one.
Yeah.
And Eric the Red did one of your favorite movies of all time, which you probably got your notes.
I do have my notes.
So hang on, but before you get to that, that scene, the scene where he's in the operating room, is so effed up. I mean, how crazy would that be to be on the operating table, and then here comes this dude get wheeled in. Here comes these guys all armed with shotguns.
Yeah, the sheriff's.
And then you watch the doctor's going to perform surgery on you. First, cut off the head of this guy. Like, what the frick is going on here?
I was going to say, first he's in shock and the blood loss, and he's been traumatic injury, all that going. And so, yeah, I'm going to say that the first act should have been longer.
Yep.
The recovery should have been a little more difficult. Because it seemed like he was like back to normal and like nothing flat. And for like, even if his own arm had been cut off and sewn back on, it would have been months of physical therapy to regain use of it. But in this one, it's like 4 weeks and he's back to work.
Yeah, they very much truncated that recovery scene, which
I'm not saying they needed to
understand.
show it all, but they could have just indicated it.
Yeah.
When he got back, it could have been like it's a whole new semester and a whole new batch of students.
It could have not been winter anymore.
Yeah.
Would have been a good one.
Yeah.
Would have perfectly shown
spring
that one,
or spring or the following semester, something like that. Just something that indicated that some time had passed. But yeah, it's just kind of like, I got my new arms.
Yeah.
This one got a tat on it. So optional equipment.
But I can forgive that, so you can kind of move on with the story and get to know the other characters. Because I think, like you said earlier, that's part of the strength of this movie is the fact that you not only get Bill's experience, but you get what's his name, Remo's experience. She's Brad Dourif's, and Mark's.
See, I'm going to say that if they had kept it together, if they'd kept it there in the hospital and they're all three going through recovery at the same time, and they all three realize that they're recovering much faster than what was expected to be, and that they're all three getting, motor activity back much more quickly, but they're all three having these weird visions and stuff like that. Yeah. I think that would have been better than this, because this seems like they had a really solid first act and they knew exactly how crazy they wanted to get in the last act, but the second act just kind of like, yeah, we got to get through all this shit. Let's just get it filmed and move on. And that's how it felt, and that should have been the tension build moment on that. So this film feels very uneven to me. It starts here, it drops to here, and then it like just goes way off here. But I'm okay with the beginning. I'm okay with the end. It's just that middle could have been the real meat of this film, and it wasn't. And so my notes on this, the budget on this film was $10 million.
Okay.
Its box office was $9.2 million.
Almost.
Almost. Paramount pull ads for this film. Again, another film marred by controversy.
What was this one?
This one was when police found dismembered bodies in Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment.
Oh, that coincided with this? Oh, what shitty timing.
Or
Gosh,
the greatest social media campaign ever. They really could have.
Yeah, you could really lean into that one.
Leaned into that one and been, hey, want to know what it looks like. This is based on a story called Choice Cuts by Pierre Ballou and Thomas Nasurgic. I don't know how faithful it is, but it's most definitely the experimental surgery, and the doctor is a main part of that, and the process and recovery and the revelation of the body parts came from a killer.
Don't forget Eric the Red. Eric
the Red. Oh, Eric the Red is famous for having written The Hitcher and also having written Near Dark, which was then directed by Catherine Bigelow and became one of the greatest vampire movies ever made.
That nobody has ever heard of.
It's okay.
Hardly anybody's ever heard of.
It's there.
No, it's a stellar movie. I'm not knocking it. I'm just stating the fact that it's a very, very cult film.
This movie could have been an 8. Could have been 8.5. It could have peaked, but like I said, its strengths are watered down by its weaknesses in a pretty relevant way, in a way that really kind of affects your interpretation of what's going on in this. Is there interesting stuff here? Yes, absolutely. Is this worth a watch? Yes. Don't buy it though. That's kind of the best I can do. Performance-wise, everybody's really good in this. They do everything they can with the material that they're given, but the material just needed some tweaking. Yeah. So.
No, I'll agree with just about everything you said. The performances are great. The material is, it's okay. The direction is fantastic.
Yes.
In it, though. It is perfectly directed. The makeup effects are outstanding. The atmosphere is fantastic. Every part of this feels creepy as it should. So I think it executes everything very well on that level. Again, my only real nitpick is the end and the why. It's like, why did Agatha Webb do all this stuff? Why is Charlie coming back, reclaiming these parts?
Because they're his.
Pretty much, yeah. You don't even get that explanation. But beyond that, it's a recommend for me. It's a buy for me. I enjoy this movie that much. It's one of those things that, like Idle Hands, I discovered because I never heard of it and it looked jacked up. Rented it from I think from Laser Video and beginning of Barnhart, the Village of Jefferson, probably in 1991 or 92, and loved it. It's hard to find this movie.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
it took me some poking around. It's available for you can buy it. You can rent it on streaming, but physical media is you're going out of the country for physical media on this one.
No, you're hitting the seas,
meaty. Meaty. But that all means that it's a worthwhile film. It's kind of like this movie. I could see somebody wanting to remake this. I could see somebody wanting to take the meat and potatoes here and really do it and like I said, just fix all the nits that are wrong with this film.
Yeah, and there's not much.
So
the only thing that we try to figure out, why the killer's repossessing his parts or something.
See, we should have spent a little time with the killer before he became the donor. I think that would have been more interesting. And I'm not saying because Jeff Fahey's character, he goes and he meets with the one guy a couple of times. And then he actually meets with him after he gets put back together, reassembled, and he shows him the tattoo. And that's how Jeff Fahey finds out that it's a death row thing. I think it would have been more interesting if Jeff Fahey had been interviewing the guy and woke up and had the tattoo and knew whose arm it was, and was what I was unconscious. I'd been thrown through a windshield. What the hell? And then having his wife and doctor trying to explain was an experimental procedure, and he was already condemned to death anyway. And we figured, hey, we could give you a normal life and blah 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 blah. Then he's got some guilt to deal with. Then he's got to deal with, is this me feeling guilty about having this man's arm who I knew? Or is this arm legitimately exerting control over me? Yeah. That would have been more interesting, I think, and would have kind of added a dimension to this film where you don't quite know what's going on, as opposed to the guy showing up with his sack of body parts and a coupon. Hey, I understand you do volume discounts. Can you put all these back on for me?
Would this been better from a supernatural standpoint as opposed to a scientific standpoint?
It's already a little supernatural in that they're doing the philosophy of where does evil live? Is it in the flesh or is it in the soul or blah blah blah?
Yeah,
so they're touching on it
without
getting too deep into it.
Yeah, but going whole hog. I mean, really diving into it and leaning into it as opposed to the more Frankenstein-ish
I'm going to
aspect.
say no, because if you had introduced a spiritual element, you would have had to have dedicated 5, 10, 15 minutes of runtime to fleshing that idea out.
I don't know, I'm just thinking out of the box.
Yeah, I'm just throwing out there ideas to would have improved this film a bit. Is it bad? No. Is it great? No. Is it watchable? Yeah. Yeah,
it's more than watchable.
It's not a waste of time. I'll give you that.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Again, like I said, it's an absolute recommend for me. So,
it's okay.
Yeah. Anything else?
We're good. I think we're done. So
we'll catch you guys the next time.